Well, if a guy tells you, don't wear that shirt because when you go out, guys are going to see you. Why is he scared? Because he's looking at other girls wearing the same shit.
Exactly.
So whatever your man is insecure about or doesn't want you doing or blames you for doing even though you're not doing it, you're not the problem. He's scared that you're going to do what he's doing to you.
Yeah.
So that would, okay.
Yeah.
You're the ones with the problems.
These are icks. Handlebar mustaches, long toenails. I just thought of one. Driving out of a parking ramp and can't figure out how to pay.
When his card gets declined.
So you're single?
When I hear a man talking about how, you know, he only goes 50-50 with a woman and he don't want to pay for nails and it's too expensive and in this economy, how could I and why should I? I'm thankful when they have girlfriends because that just means you are not on my radar for dating.
You don't hear this conversation from men who have their shit together. You hear this conversation from men with the dangly earrings, wearing Chelsea boots and
I like
fedoras.
the dangly earrings.
Not me, baby. Is a epitome of a sassy man.
Get a job?
Men don't like loud women.
Women don't even like men! And guess what? Bubblegum in a dish. Half these men have shrimp dicks. I'm not worried about it, bitch.
What?
I suppose the asylum will take the child.
For richer?
For richer.
For poor?
Or poorer.
Yeah. We hit that snag about 20 times in counseling. To love.
To love.
Cherish.
Cherish.
And to obey.
We didn't talk about that one in counseling.
We did talk about that in counseling.
He's toast.
It was today when I realized a pet peeve of mine is a grown-ass man saying, I wanted to see you, or I want to see you. Okay, what am I supposed to do with that information? What is that supposed to do for me? You want to see me? Oh, that's cute. I have Instagram, I have a website, I have TikTok, I have Facebook, I have Twitter, if you want to see me.
Toxic.
So I really wanted to post this video because I needed to give you guys the scientific information as to why females are literally the prize. So in the beginning, when God created the earth, he created man first. He created Adam. Now, if you guys haven't read Genesis, I'm going to give you a little bit of a synopsis. God was giving Adam different animals because he was looking for a helper. And he said, okay, is this one good enough? Is this one good enough? And God was like, none of these. So he made Adam go to sleep and he took a rib out. And he said, okay, now I'm going to make this a woman because you need a helper. He literally gifted the man with the woman. Now, we have different things that we can do that the man cannot do and vice versa. But we are there to assist and help the man. We are literally a gift to them. So anytime I hear somebody saying, the man is the prize, the man is the prize. No, we're literally the prize. That's why in the scripture, it says, when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing. A man who finds a wife is blessed by God. You guys have to understand that. A woman was literally gifted to you by the Lord. We're your helper.
If men say they want to talk about men's rights, how many women are willing to hear that?
About 2%.
So then can we conclude that women don't really care about men's feelings?
If we're talking stereotypically, I would say that is correct.
I don't think that's a fair conclusion because of the power struggle that we go through, but I think that both parties could be more willing to listen. I think the frustration comes when women are trying to talk about women's issues and then men are like, well, what about men? When they didn't even bring the conversation up.
Doesn't the opposite happen? When men talk about men's issues, women say, what about women?
Personally, I've never had a man bring it up on his own. It only ever comes up when a woman's talking about issues she faces.
With an upward inflection at the end of every sentence?
What do you mean you don't have a boyfriend? You're so pretty. What do you mean you have 0 men in your phone? What do you mean you've gone 8 months without... What do you mean? That makes no sense. Yeah, well, combine pretty with intelligent, strong, successful, slaying at life, you've got a very terrifying woman on your hands.
She certainly isn't very humble, is she? And then she's also kind of like dorky and quirky, which is just... Look, it's not seductive, it's not attractive, and she also smokes cigarettes, is a feminist, and has a chest tattoo.
Oh, the feminist echo chamber is still alive and kicking, boys. At least that's what the ladies would have you believe. But when you take a hard look at your own needs and the needs of men everywhere, it's clear why chicks like this are counting the months without any real comfort. Aside from all the glowing feedback coming from their fellow progressive women, it's just a bunch of smoke and mirrors. Now, progressives might argue that we've got our own echo chamber going on like the lady in that first clip, but let's be honest, if that were true, we wouldn't be digging deep and calling out the mess that is modern femininity. We've spent plenty of time staring into that woke abyss, and guess what? It's not even remotely appealing. It's like opening Pandora's box and finding nothing but bad decisions and regret. As I've said in other MGTOW guides, men are straightforward. Our bare minimum is loyalty and accountability. Two things that seem to be on the endangered species list in the West. We're not asking for the moon here, we just want someone who's going to share our values and march to the beat of our drum. Because let's be real, that's the only rhythm that's going to ensure a prosperous future. Not just for us, but for our families, our friends, the people we actually care about. In short, we're looking for an insurance plan that's going to deliver, not one that's going to leave us high and dry. And that's why this kind of behavior is just flat out unacceptable. We're not interested in playing games with our lives and futures, and we're definitely not interested in anyone who thinks they can waltz in with a woke agenda and derail everything we've worked for. So, to all the guys out there, keep your standards high and don't settle for anything less. If she can't meet your bare minimum, she's not worth your time. And to the ladies stuck in that echo chamber, maybe it's time to listen to something other than your own voice for a change.
I am newly single, and I have been single for 3 months, and I chose to leave the man. I was going to get married. He was perfect on paper, but I walked away. Why? Stupid. Because I am very...
And this is why, like, yo, this is what I'm trying to say. Arranged marriages are a thing because women make bad decisions.
No, because I'm like you. I'm very picky and I know what I want. And it's like, although someone's maybe perfect for me on paper, and yeah, he treats me like a princess and things like that, there's things that I need. And if that person doesn't have it...
You're 29.
Yeah, so...
Can you be a bit specific?
Yeah, it's like, person was a people pleaser.
What?
Like, not just with me, but with like the family, his friends. It was like the people around him. He was just.
So he's a nice guy.
He's a really nice guy.
Crazy.
Ah, born for the wall, guys. You can see it coming from a mile away like a slow-motion car crash. But here's the thing, men are decisive. That's the real takeaway here. There's a reason the whole women taking 30 minutes to pick an entree meme has stood the test of time. For us, time isn't just a resource, it's a lifeline. It's not just something we're taught to value, it's hardwired into our DNA. Whether you're a salt-of-the-earth construction worker or wolf hunting opportunities in the stock market, the same software runs across the board. Why? Because without it, we'd sink. With it, we swim to the next island, conquering one day at a time. Women, on the other hand, handle pressure like a lump of cheese facing off against a butter knife. It just doesn't end well. Speaking of sinking ships, let's talk about why we let women and children go first. It's not just because we're naturally self-sacrificial, though. Sure, that's part of it. It's also because when the going gets tough, chicks turn into headless chickens. Crisis management? Yeah, not exactly their strong suit. They lack the systematic skills to move quickly and make critical decisions when it really counts. Now, here's where things get really interesting. The topic of arranged marriages, often a sore spot for feminists, is actually one of the most effective arguments against the chaotic mess that is Western relationship building. Just look at the numbers. While the US rocks a staggering 40 to 60% divorce rate, arranged marriages have a measly 4% divorce rate. That tells you everything you need to know about female bandwidth. Give women too much control, and you're essentially slashing your insurance policy for a stable, logical future, whether in dating or marriage. You're sacrificing what culture actually needs for what it arbitrarily wants.
Well, here's something interesting. When they do surveys among divorced couples and the woman initiates the divorce, one of the top reasons she always gives is she feels like, right? They never say I think, they say I feel like he didn't do enough for me. Right? It's like the number one thing. And I think that we give women like a totally overblown expectation that men are supposed to like serve us or be doing. He wasn't emotionally taking care of me usually means like I wanted him to anticipate that I want him to do a bunch of shit that he would never think about that I would want him to do and stuff like that. So
all right, let's break this down. If you take a good look at society and how men handle their emotions, there's almost always a method to the madness. Monks have meditation, angsty high school dudes have sports, and so on. We've got outlets, because otherwise, let's be real, a lot of us would have clocked more faces than we could count by now. We've known for a long time that there's a time and place for everything. If there isn't, we do what we can to let it slide, to let it pass. That's called discipline. Now, here comes feminism, with modern women at the helm, trying to label every single one of these outlets as toxic masculinity. They'll tell you that male force and drive have no place in a sophisticated society, as if we didn't, invent the damn wheel in the first place. But when you take a step back and look at how these same women deal with their problems, that argument falls apart faster than a cheap suit. Cheating, theft, tantrums, and don't forget recording it all for the gram, just to name a few. These chicks act on every emotion or hunch that pops into their heads, no matter how intrusive or unfounded. It's why reality TV producers never have a hard time finding some aging broad ready to throw wine in someone's face. That's the real point here. With no cultural barriers to rein this chaos in, we're left with a Western environment full of unhinged women facing zero consequences. Fidelity? Forget about it. It's not even on the menu when men are out here trying to find a future wife. And why would it be, when these women are more invested in their next meltdown than in maintaining a stable relationship? Alright, lady, I don't know where you're getting your stats from, but let me tell you something: nobody with a shred of self-respect is out there hunting for a thirst trap with a camera at the bar. While Western women's needs seem to be completely lost on everyone, including their own girlfriends, the masculine playbook for what I like to call insurance is more locked in than ever before. Over the last decade, opinions have been globalized and syndicated like never before. Men are hopping on international gigs, sharing timeless truths, and of course cracking a few jokes along the way. But then let's take a look at what modern women are doing with the internet. And boy, does it get interesting. The growing chasm between men and women becomes painfully obvious when you see how they use the digital age. Lonely fans' lifestyles, keeping up with the Joneses on vlogs, divorce memoirs, and feminist rallying cries that's just a taste of the nonsensical buffet chicks have dished out with the most powerful tool humanity's created since, well, the hammer. The bottom line: men are out here embracing change, pushing the envelope, and making innovations work for them. Women? They're trying to bend the internet to stroke their egos. It's like giving someone a spaceship and watching them use it to collect Instagram likes. Men evolve, adapt, and thrive. Meanwhile, women are doing what they've always done, finding ways to make everything about them. And that, my friends, is why the gap keeps getting wider.
I had an ex, yeah, and he was very toxic, so...
Can you please tell us how he was toxic?
He brought his religion too much to our relationship. I feel like I'm a person that it's very ongoing, and he just to be very shy, so he just to like tell me, don't wear this, don't try to go out, don't do this, and...
That's toxic?
Yeah, for me, it's toxic.
Honestly, that doesn't sound toxic to me. That sounds like having boundaries and not wanting his girl to be a slut.
He was a man of God.
Like, ladies, why is it like I find it amazing how girls get in a relationship with a guy. The guy puts in boundaries. I don't want you to dress a certain way. I don't want you to go to the club. I don't want you to do certain behaviors.
Go to therapy.
That might hurt our relationship because I'm the one that's providing for you, loving for you, willing to die for you, right? Yet you want to go out and advertise yourself to other men, but that's considered toxic.
Ah, yes, toxic, the go-to word in the ever-growing, overused, and misused female lexicon. It's like the Swiss Army knife of modern feminist jargon. Need to dismiss something you don't like? Call it toxic. Doesn't fit your narrative? It's toxic. Meanwhile, men have been undergoing a quiet revolution of their own, and let me tell you, it's for the better. Go to any gym these days and you'll see Gen Z guys busting their butts, not just to bulk up, but to strengthen their faith and discipline. Just today, I saw a young guy doing dips with a rosary hanging out of his pocket. Sometimes it's a mishhaba, sometimes it's a cross, but the message is the same: internal and physical balance. And yet these progressives will take one look at that and roll their eyes, ready to mock these men for seeking something real, something substantial. Meanwhile, they're sitting there 50 pounds overweight, with a Chinese character tattoo on their neck that they think means strength. But probably translates to pizza pocket in Mandarin. Western women are absolutely starved for spiritual strength, but do you think they'd ever admit it? Not a chance. Instead, they double down and try to stomp out the only tried and true institutions that still promote any semblance of morality. And where do they run for guidance? Structures as infantile and unstable as the government, all in their quest to purge the world of masculine traditions. Honestly, I'm shocked I haven't stumbled across a clip of some feminist preaching in a DMV like Butters from South Park, trying to convince everyone that the DMV is the new church. With such a moral wasteland, is it any wonder that more and more men are opting to stay single or pack their bags and head overseas? Of course not. In most cities, the pickings for ideal women are slim to non-existent. You're more likely to come across a train wreck than the kind of woman your great-great-grandpa married a century ago. And that's the sad reality of the feminist West. The standards have dropped so low, you'd need a shovel to find them.
And you even do it today. You take every single shot that you possibly can at everything about me. And it's like, like you didn't highlight every other gentleman as that such. Like, what about me? I don't think that there was one perfect man that you seen on the show, but you decide to speak on every little thing about this one man. Like, I feel like it's corny because you keep constantly trying to reach out to me after the show. So I honestly feel like,
No, I did not.
you try to play this.
She reached out after the show. What are y'all saying? Hey.
It's corny because you attacking me as a person. That's who I am, bro. Like, I came on the show, it's who I am, and you telling me that everything about me you don't like. But then outside of the show, you want to have a conversation or a hug or smile in my face or hey, Daryl, or it's a us. It ain't no us thing.
Us.
The reason why me and you had a viral clip is because I handle myself well. I very well could have been looked at as a sassy or an evil man if I would have gave you the response that you deserved. But I gave you what I felt like it needed to be presented, because a lot of young men get tricked out of their spot dealing with young women like yourself. And I don't want to be the crash out example. I want an example that no matter what, you could still be able to hold.
What the heck happened here now? Let's talk about something that has me scratching my head more than a bad case of dandruff, the sheer insanity of how things have flipped upside down. You know what I'm talking about? The complete lack of insurance, assurance, and oh, let's not forget modesty. Yeah, that thing our grandmas used to harp on about. Now, here's the kicker. This isn't just a whoops, I tripped and fell into bad choices situation. No, this is a full-on conscious decision to dive into the deep end of bad decisions with no lifeguard on duty. It's like they're starring in their own little soap opera where they play the victim, the villain, and the misguided hero all at once. And the plot twist? They know this role is a one-way ticket to Miseryville, but they're still signing up for the sequel. Meanwhile, US men? Oh, we're out here on the grind, climbing the Mount Everest of life, dodging the punches, and still managing to hold the door open for the next guy in line. It's like we're in a Rocky movie, taking hit after hit but never staying down. We've got our roles locked in strong, resilient, and just a tad bit tired of the drama. But here's the thing, when women are left to their own devices, what happens? They decide that misery loves company, and they'd rather blame anyone who's got their life together than look in the mirror. Seriously, ignorance is one hell of a drug, and some people are overdosing hard. We all know the truth can be a bitter pill to swallow, and trust me, it's not coated in sugar. But you know what? We men take that pill, chug some water, and keep it moving. Progress, baby.
But as we often
That's what
see,
we're all about. We've been out here for decades practically handing out cheat sheets on how to be happy, call it life homework, if you will.
Remains the same.
The old systems laid it all out in black and white, a blueprint for contentment, peace, and dare I say it, a little bit of joy. But what did they do? Crumple it up like a bad takeout menu and toss it right back, screaming for a reset. Well, newsflash. Sometimes the original recipe doesn't need tweaking. Sometimes you just need to follow the damn instructions.
That's why I don't like men who know their worth. Like, I hate y'all. I hate men who know their worth. They be like, I don't gotta deal with girls. I know my worth. I got my. For men was just like dinner and. But now y'all want to be like having real deep conversations and y'all want to be like asking out what you do. Oh, I do. Trying to cut this off like, no, I don't got time for the drama, or you toxic. I hate when it says to me, you toxic. So what's up? What you doing tomorrow? Who teaching you all that shit? For real, who teaching you all that shit?
Teaching us what?
Y'all worth. I don't like that.
We know you don't understand because the end result doesn't include you. I've never met a real man who doesn't want what every other man wants, the kind of loyalty that makes his friends proud. The ability to build a successful life for his future children. It's simple, really. Men seek fulfillment, whether it's through a career they can reflect on with pride, a house they design with their own hands, or a community that shares the values they've cherished since childhood. This is the insurance plan, the existential security that drives men to work as hard as they do. It's what binds, protects, and validates every facet of a life worth living for men. But then you look at the modern Western woman, and it's clear she holds none of the qualities needed to support that universal vision. They're more like a battering ram or a wrecking ball loaded with insecurities, fueled by social media and indoctrinated by a cult-like ideology. Where men see success, ambition and progress, these women see a threat or a challenge. This is what makes feminism and the distorted data it relies on nothing more than a club for envious failures, dedicated to tearing everything down. For them, building and strengthening isn't progress, it's an obstacle. They don't cheer for a man's success, they cheer for his downfall, for the scorched earth and broken men left behind. And when you point this out, they quickly dismiss it as some silly, ignorable insecurity. But deep down, we all know what's really happening. The very qualities that men build their lives around, their drive, ambition, loyalty, are the exact things these women can't stand. They're threatened by it, and instead of rising to the occasion, they try to bring everything to its knees. That's the reality. Men are out here trying to build, while these women are dead set on destroying, all because they can't handle what men have inherently known all along: loyalty, hard work, and a clear vision for the future are the keys to a life well lived.
Someone asks, what do you bring to the table? I am the table!
Shut up, bitch.
As always, wishing you tremendous success. Now, it's your turn. What do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching.